If your life is affected by multiple sclerosis in any way or any other neurological condition, then this channel is for you. My name's Liam Senior, and in 2018 I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS. In this video we're going to talk about COVID-19 and the pandemic and how that has affected those that suffer with MS. There's been an update recently for those of us whose lives are affected, or if you've got a condition that means you're sort of clinically vulnerable. There's been another recent update regarding COVID-19, which I'm going to come to. COVID-19 and the pandemic has been really challenging for those of us that live with conditions like this. The lockdown in particular was really challenging for those of us that live with conditions like this. Not being able to see people, not being able to go about any routine that you might have established really impacts mental health routine, being able to talk to people, share your struggles, and also just some normal, normality, some normal day-to-day interactions. They really help with conditions like this. So the lockdown meant that we weren't able to get out and about as much as usual. If you have assistance when you're out and about, whether it's local councils sometimes provide mobility for those that can't get around by themselves, that would have been impacted. Doctor's appointments, hospital appointments. We might as well have our own parking spaces at hospitals and doctors, because we're there so often discussing our symptoms, any progress, or to make sure that there hasn't been any progress. And appointments like that, MRI scans, they all were impacted. So we've had a really, really challenging time. Multiple sclerosis has a real impact on your immune system, even just as a sort of standard point, but even more so, like myself, I'd just begun my treatment of cladribine prior to when all the lockdown and the pandemic sort of came to fruition. So that meant that my immune system had almost been factory reset. I became really vulnerable to anything, whether it's a common cold, any bugs that are going around, least of all, a pandemic that is costing people their lives. So we were really vulnerable. We had to be really careful, and it's nice to perhaps see the world try and step into some normality now, while still being sensible. So I got a recent update through from the MS Society here in the UK advising that there will be another booster jab available for those that are clinically vulnerable. There is other criteria that makes you eligible for the booster, such as if you're over 50, anyone who's aged 5 to 49 and considered to be clinically vulnerable, which is ourselves. It also specifies household contacts of those that are clinically vulnerable. So if you live with someone who's clinically vulnerable, then you also may be eligible for the booster. If you're an unpaid carer, aged 16 to 49, you'll also qualify, along with residents and staff of care homes and those that are on the front line in our health system. Now, I know still there are some split opinions when it comes to the vaccination availability. Some people have chosen not to be vaccinated and to try and manage COVID through diet or just through being careful and wearing your mask and things like that. Other people have decided to go down the vaccination route, myself included. I am vaccinated and I've had a couple of boosters. I ended up with COVID probably about a year ago. I was in bed for a week. I was sweating. I had really strong sort of like flu-like symptoms, really low energy, which for me to notice, bearing in mind I suffer with fatigue and things like that through MS, it really did knock me off my feet. So I dread to think what it could have been like had I not been vaccinated. A friend of mine who also has MS, he ended up having COVID just before the vaccination system or the vaccination program rolled out, and he was in hospital for a week with all sorts of ventilators and things plugged into him. Fortunately, he managed and he survived. Not everyone does, but being able to manage it at home, not have severe symptoms, and also not become dependent on things like the NHS and put strain on them, I think for me, solidified my choice to become vaccinated. So I will be getting the booster as soon as I'm notified that I can have that, as I feel pretty grateful, particularly here in the UK with the NHS. It doesn't cost me anything, and I can go into a lot of pop-up centres and have that jab done to further protect me from COVID, which we are seeing is evolving. There are different strains popping up all the time. It's something that's going to be around for a long time. So as those that have an immuno disease or immunosuppressant drugs, it's really important that we're doing everything we can and look at all the choices that we have, whether that be vaccinations or not. So If you've been vaccinated or you haven't been vaccinated, I would love to know about your experience. Have you had COVID? What was that like? Will you be getting the booster jab? And any other sort of tips and advice that you might have for taking COVID head on. So yeah, appreciate your support on this channel so far. Please consider subscribing and stick around for future videos, because this is becoming something that I'm really enjoying, making videos like this. I've had some great correspondence in the comments from those of you that are watching the videos and enjoying them or are finding them helpful. It's really great. So thank you for those of you that have been checking out it so far. And if you're new to the channel, yeah, it'd be great to see you in future videos. And don't forget to say hello in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.